Clones, Weather Modification and the Creation of Ourselves. This evening, the lecture will be on clones, weather modification and the creation of ourselves. It's nice of you to come. It's going to be, as Ed Sullivan would say, an action-packed evening. Now, we've all heard of a world government. It's not just a group of bankers and politicians. In order to have some teeth and to make the governments do what they want, and to be able to control and manipulate governments and world events, they have to have another organization. This organization, from what I have been told by Morani, started originally in the CIA, shortly after it became the CIA in the 1950s. This operation, which exists today, is called Operation Deep Freeze. The way it works is that members of the CIA, FBI, NSA, KGB and Mossad are declared dead, given false identities and put into active service in the capacity that they can go to any country, having total anonymity, do what they want and they can't be touched. They are outside all laws. In 1988, according to Morani, there were 12,310 of these people. Today, there are over 26,000 of them. What brought this whole thing up is that the lecture I did last Saturday, a gentleman brought up something about a mark on the palm of the hand. So, I took that information and went to Morani. I said, well, what about this? Well, I opened up a can of worms. I had no idea. Anyway, this group is called Deep Freeze. It's called that because they're all supposed to be dead, but they're not. And it is these individuals that basically run messages back and forth between world governments. In other words, messages on what to do, when to start a war, when not to start a war, when to bomb, when to kidnap, etc. It is also this same group that is in charge of the doubles and clones. Now, folks, some of this might be really hard for you to understand, or to even relate to. I'm just here to offer the information. I don't have a problem with this information. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. Now, I'll start and I'm going to have to give you specific times, dates and background information so that you can go back and try to prove it wrong. Okay? I asked for specific information because I know that on the believability scale, this is pretty tough. Again, this information is what the Zenitines have provided me with. Okay. On January 26, 1979, Nelson Rockefeller, the ex-vice president of the United States, was murdered. He did not die of a heart attack, making love to his secretary, as most of us have been told. When he passed away, or was killed, his next in command was Henry Kissinger, who was apparently a Rockefeller devotee, and Kissinger thought he could take Nelson's place as far as helping to run the Rockefeller empire. On February 4, 1979, Kissinger left for London from Washington. Now, this is just after the funeral for Nelson Rockefeller. From London he went to 2 secret destinations in France, then back to London. At 11 p.m., he left Heathrow Airport in a private jet back to Washington, D.C. He was accompanied by his wife, now his ex-wife, Nancy. According to Morani, there were 26 Earth-built spacecraft watching the plane. At 7:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 5, 1979, all contact with Kissinger's plane was lost. Now, I'm giving you the specific information so that you can go back in time and try to disprove this or validate it, whatever the case may be. The plane never arrived in Washington. Several days later, his aides claimed that he was on vacation somewhere. According to Morani, the real human being Henry Kissinger has never been seen or heard from again. He was cloned. On March 9, 1979, Film clips of Henry Kissinger were put together for it to appear that he was doing a real interview on a newscast. The same thing occurred on March 25, 1979, for a hoax television interview on Meet the Press. According to Morini, if you listen carefully, questions put to Kissinger are not answered, but he says something else. They didn't know where Kissinger was when they created these mock broadcasts, and they didn't want to create a panic within the structure of the government, because Kissinger had been carrying vital intelligence information back and forth. Now, the Rothschild family, and those close to it, are the souls of the leaders of the former Maldek, a planet that was destroyed in the past and now remains as the asteroid belt. They have continued to be reborn in the same family in order to retain their control. Many members of the shadow government in the United States and many individuals in Russia are also souls who were conscious of themselves and originated on Maldek at one time. Most of these Maldekian souls who were physically incarnate in Russia have been removed, and according to Morini, this was done by a group of Pleiadians, who apparently have a huge base in Russia and are actively involved on that end. There are still a large group of these souls having their origin with Maldek that are incarnating in human form, and conscious of who they are. They're all into war, hate, greed, power and control. That's what they're all about. Unfortunately, most of those who are incarnating and are still in physical form are in the United States, underneath us in the underground cities and facilities. There is in our world today an intelligence war of sorts going on between doubles and clones. The nations on our planet today that can literally create doubles and clones are the United States, Russia, Britain and Israel. During April of 1979, for the period of a week and a half, President Carter and Vice President Mondale were out of public view. Now, if you will remember, Carter was looking very sick and apparently he was dying of leukemia and cancer, as a result of material injected into his food by the CIA. He went to Georgia with his family for a 10-day scheduled vacation. Walter Mondale supposedly went to Iceland, Scandinavia and the Netherlands. In other words, they had a double for him. The real Walter Mondale was executed by Operation Deep Freeze on the